What's up, guys? So, profitability, um, cash flow, and net income. Which would you say is the most important of the three? I would say net income. Reason being is because profitability, you could argue, is very similar, if not one and the same as revenue. The same with cash flow. Cash flow and revenue are pretty much the same thing. The only difference is cash flow is a fluid form of revenue. Revenue is just sales. That doesn't account for expenses. So if you make 100 billion in revenue, and or 100 billion in cash, or 100 billion in revenue, which is over a year, or divide it into 12 months, which is 100 billion divided by 12. That's the cash flow. You haven't accounted for expenses. For example, what if your expenses for the year are 101 billion? That means your net income, the income that you get over a year after expenses, is at least 100, is at least minus 1 billion. So that means you still owe one. That means you're still running into a negative. You're still in the red, as accountants will say. So I wouldn't say cash flow and revenue. Any financial term that's defined by pre-expense income, or pre-expense value added to the company or to the economic entity, I would definitely say is less important than the post or net income, because net income is has net income explains or represents the more of a true value, more of a true expression of, or more of a true expression of the value that you're actually getting, or that belongs to you, or that belongs to the economic entity. So take for example, if you earn 100 billion, if an economic entity earns 100 billion per year in income or in sales revenue, and the expenses are for the year are 102 billion, then the net income would be minus 2 billion for the year. So that means you've actually lost money. That means the entity has lost money, £2 billion or $2 billion, instead of gaining a profit, or instead of adding value to the company by gaining money. So that's definitely not a good thing. So that's why I would suggest that anything that's net or after expenses are paid, any economic or financial term that is based on after expense profit or after expense sales, is definitely far more of a greater of a representation of true value than post sorry than any financial term that is based on um, before expense sales or before expense revenues.